We calling you a radical. We finally got some good news on the nuclear. Before Kevin reached into the bag and slung the stone, we finally got some good news. I mean, the SMR sham from hell, freaking the bank bailout scam. So we finally got this is a major event. This is the first one who's done this. One person. So the governor of Illinois, of all people, has vetoed ending the 1987 moratorium on nuclears in Illinois. He vetoed it. It's a big, big deal. First one to stand up to these monsters. So this is where it happened. I was fighting it, full of cancer. I was traveling all over the country. In every house, every house, when they came up with this idea, they get the international subsidy at the IAEA. So that's where this was made, at the IAEA. The Fukushima, Kevin Blanch and friends had them down on their knees. We kicked the domino over at freaking San Onofre, and they started tumbling all over the country. One after another was going down. Some of the most dangerous nuclear reactors in the world on my top 10 list were falling. San Onofre down, Oyster Creek down, freaking Pilgrim down, Indian Point down. So many of these marquee, nasty, most dangerous nuclear reactors go down. So this is the greatest accomplishment of grassroots activism in world history, is the shutdown of San Onofre and these said monsters. But they're like, holy shit, Kevin Blanch and crew are kicking our ass. What are we going to do? Well, he's full of cancer. Let's attack him. Let's classify him. My grassroots activists, like, you think I'm successful when they actually physically classify me, which they did. That's a fact. Where they've gone after me, what they've done. So they started going to house, state to state, including here in freaking the nuclear toilet, bailout, the most corrupt place in the world. We've been kind of look up this mega welfare Dairy Queen I've been singing about my whole life. I grew up next to, just punched a migrant worker in the face, stolen hundreds of millions. They're not going to do anything. They never do here. It's a club here. The place is corrupt as hell. So all over the country, they started to prey on this. First place they did it was New York. So I'm in New York, and I'm battling this bailout hardcore. This was made in Austria, but I made this, and I'm battling. Going house to house. It's David versus Goliath. So they go into selfish, ignorant leaders. Well, people will elect selfish, ignorant leaders on chemo, on dog. So they go into New York, and they don't even use the political process. They're like, yeah, we're going to just buy these legislators, we'll go in these lobbyists on this SMR fairy tale. Now, there are no SMRs. There's no such thing. They don't exist. There are no SMRs. So the Manhattan Project. Let's go see Oppie. We love Oppie. Yay, Oppie. Oh, God, what an evil bastard. Tell her what if the creeps. We worship them. Yay, these great nuclear scumbags. So they decide to go house to house. The first house they stop at is Status King Cuomo. And they don't even get legislative process. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, King Cuomo inks up and says, here's. So 9 Mile Point, 9 Mile Island, which is 3 times worse than 3 Mile Island in upstate New York, Fitzpatrick and Guyana go broke. They're going down next. They're out. They throw their hands up. We're shutting them down. So Exelon, of all people, runs in from Chicago, Illinois, and buys them for peanuts on the dollar. And then Status Quo Gomo says, here, without any due process, without any alleged process, hands them $7.6 billion. Not 7.6 million. Billion. Just here, and I'm like, holy shit, there's no resistance. There's no media. The New York Times pick up on that? No. Did the New York Post pick up on it? No. No media. And you got Kevin Blanch, and, I'm fighting him full of cancer with no money, and they've classified me, and they've got me blackballed. They got me shadow banned, but I'm going at them then. I'm fighting them. I'm like, you can't do this. So they're like, oh my God, was that easy? They don't get enough subsidy at the IAEA International. They don't get enough in the Department of Energy, which is the atomic. The Manhattan Project turned on the faucet and never shut it off. The Immunity Act, they don't have to pay Jeff Bezos' grandpa guys. Look it up. The original spokesman propagandist for the Department of Energy. The Army Corps of Engineers would classify Kevin Blanch, which was originally the Department of Nuclearism. So they're like, that was easy. Let's go house to house, state to state. They come to Utah. It's me in there. I'm talking to these legislators. There's videos all over, man, right face to face. This corrupt mega dairy freaking Gulf King's own brother who corrupt right there is inside there. I mean, what the? I mean, it's such corruption. I'm like, what are you doing? Well, why'd you pass this? Because in Utah it's legal to gift, which is a backdoor bribe. And I'm like, against me. No media. Nobody's taking this on. Kevin, I'm like, I exposed that new scale, these small, so these SMRs don't exist. There's no such thing. These little hot freaking reactors condense hot, and every time they've been tried, they blow up. They blew up at Idaho National Lab where they're supposedly being tested now. I'm up there all the time protesting. People off there, Santa Susana, don't you cry for me. I came to Utah with a load of sand off. What's that? They blew up there. Oh, that was a long time ago. How about 8/8/2019 on the White Sea? The missile blew up. That was an SMR. These SMRs don't work. They're too hot. They're condensed. And so here, Utah, new scale. Now stay with me. New scale. The head of new scale is Jose Reyes. Now I asked the Attorney General in Utah at the Bear River Massacre place to his face, it's online. You related to the Reyes connection? Are you related to this guy? Why is Utah funding these things? He made a point. I am not related to him, Kevin. You know, even walk back. I am not related to him. Be sure knew who he was. And then I asked him about the SMRs and, being tested right over there, right from the Bear River Massacre in Idaho, or Utah funded. The only municipality on earth that's funding them, Utah. And he's like, don't know what those are. Governor Cox, same thing. Tried to tell me he didn't know what it is, but then he signs a deal with Bill Gates to build fairy tale SMRs in Kemmer, Wyoming. There's no such thing. But here's the thing. They get all the money up front. So new scale, back to new scale. I'm the guy that exposed. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm the guy that exposes Kenwood Financial was their original funding. They have to have the original funding, then they get the government pork. And I'm like, no. When Obama come here, that's what it was all about. That's what, I mean, I'm like, what are they doing? They're going municipalities, forming these shell companies. And they're like, hey, dude, you live in Morgan, here's $200,000. Form a shell company and act like this. Just promote this. We'll get it through the legislator. And it's just free money for all. Lawyers and freaking. So new scale has the only approved license. Bill Gates doesn't have an approved license, Tara. It doesn't have an approved license. It never will. So get this. Wait till you hear this. So NewScale's original funding was Kenwood Financial, which was a Ponzi scheme from South America. I outed it. I exposed it. I went in, he's doing life in prison. I'm like, well, it's fraud by inception. They don't stop. They keep going. They go to Utah under AMPS to solar and wind, which I was part of the person that got that through. They just keep going. I'm like, no. It's not renewable. It's the opposite of renewable. Nuclear waste is forever. What about the centrifuge process? What about uranium-238, 235? What about freaking waste? What about freaking accidents, INL? What about Santa Susana? What about the 8/8 freaking disaster? What about Fukushima? I might as well be talking Martian to these freaking legislators, the dumbest people on earth, state legislators. And there's no resistance. There's no media. They buy these freaking lawyers through your own taxpayer dime. Price Anderson, the Immunity Act. What's that? So they're just finking up. So they come to Utah and they're like, I mean, this brother, this mega welfare dairy, inside that, they're saying he's not even a politician. I'm like, what are you doing here? I mean, it's some kind of creepy freaking cult here. And they gifted him. And they got it through to switch wind and solar to nuclear. Is renewable. Nuclear is the opposite of renewable. It's forever. In fact, it actually gets stronger as time goes on. Hell in Caldecott, the half nuclears they roll out at Fukushima. The Japanese are tidy people. They cleaned it up. Chris Busby, the big Pacific Ocean's a big place. The solution to radionuclear pollution is not dilution. It's the opposite. Shut them all down. Fukushima should have been the end. Chernobyl should have been the end. 3 Mile Island should have been the end. Freaking. But they just keep perpetuating the lie, preying on ignorant things. So, get this. Yesterday, the governor of Illinois, of all people, Axelrod, Rahm Emanuel, propped up Obama. Remember when Hillary's running attack ads against Obama? He's being propped up in the nuclear industry. You know, he's ambassador in Japan. They're come out of the nuclear industry in Illinois. The governor vetoed it yesterday. It's a major, major step. So, in Utah, I'm like, it's a Ponzi scheme. You know, so we're shoveling all this money. So they signed a deal that AMPS would have 24 of these little nuclear reactors in all these municipalities around here. Brigham City, Morgan, freaking Murray, freaking Logan. What a scam. These guys that took the money in these corrupt freaking shell companies they created and these individual creeps. They're criminal. I'm like, no, there's no such thing. So get this. How did they get a license? They're the only SMR that has a license. How'd they get it? So Christina worked at Idaho National Lab. How's she even on the NRC board? Trump names her to the head of the NRC. She worked with Jose Reyes, who's the CEO of NewScale, together at Idaho National Lab. Now, you know how much I protest up there and how long I've been there. Oh, you dropped your die-cast container. Shh, don't tell anybody. Cover it up. Idaho National Lab, Santa Susana, 88 on the White Sea in Russia. Don't tell anybody. The ignorant sheep don't know any better. So, she approves it. I'm like, you can't let her approve. That's collusion. She used to work with the CEO. That's collusion. That's against the law. Somebody's got to challenge that. Somebody needs to file suit. Where's Sierra Club? Where's Greenpeace? Well, Kevin Blanch, you're going to have to be the guy. I don't have an attorney. I don't have anyone. I'm fighting for my life with cancer. And they classified me. That's a fact. They classified me. I got an email from the Army Corps Engineers. Army Corps Engineers is part of the old Department of Atomic. They just changed the name. It's hard to the Department of Energy and the Army Corps Engineers. The original Jeff Bezos' grandpa guy, so look it up. It was original spokesman. He was born in Los Alamos to a 14-year-old mother. Look it up. So, I'm like, you can't approve. That's the only one to prove. Well, wait till you hear this. They're going to have 24 on by 2019 in Utah. Now they're saying 12. Now maybe 6 by 2030. They've already thrown their hands up, says it doesn't work. The approved license. They've reapplied for a new license. Now, we got this kid from Stanford who's crypto scam Bankman-Fried and Elizabeth Holmes, the new Stanford scammer, Sam Altman. He's going to say he's going public with one. Not only did the NRC not send his licensing back, we don't like this, they completely rejected it. But he's going to go public anyway with something that doesn't, well, that's what they do. You know, these investors, these venture capitalists, they'll dive in, and then they'll dump it on you as the public. These insiders for NewScale have been dumping stock for the last 6 months like crazy, to the tones of hundreds of millions. They become filthy, stinking rich on something that doesn't exist. They don't have any product. They don't have any, they have taxpayer, Utah, out of your bill. It's fraud. They don't exist. They don't have one. They've already admitted it. They don't have it. They've reapplied. Yeah, we're funding this fairy tale, Santa Claus Easter. So Governor Cox, who I ask about this, to his face, played stupid with me, and, maybe he is. I don't know. But then first he gets Bill Gates, who's the most hated man in Utah, the operating system was here. Word perfect. Invented here in Utah. Remember? Shift F, they had 99% of the market. Novell. Now, who came in and looted Novell for all that money? Eric Smith? And he ended up a yeah! Well, no. Most hated man. We had a trial on 11/11/11 in Utah against Bill Gates here. One juror held up. How come you weren't there? I was in the bone marrow transplant, LDSE state bone marrow transplant, dying of cancer, fighting for my life. You got me. So New York, they $7.6 billion. They went to Jersey down by the refinery. How about Springsteen? Talk about a sellout. He builds up that clientele that had a wife and kid in Ogden, Utah, Jack. I went out for a drive and I decided to go back. So Bruce sells us down the river. What? You go to see his concert, he's going to add a show in San Diego for the homeless. He's in a luxury good now on Geffen Jot. $5,000 a ticket. Look it up. They all sold us down there. Wasn't he the new Lil Noops guy in '79? I hitchhiked all the way across the country. Was at that concert. I'd take one for the team. Don't drop your dry cast container. So they says, that's so easy in New York. Let's go to Jersey. So they were on their knees. Kevin Blanchett crew. We kicked that domino down at San Onofre. And some of these most dangerous reactors in the world, in my top 10, who I've been ranking since the water school business at Weber State, who builds them, who I'm in the belly of the beast. We took down Oyster Creek. We took Indian Point. We took down Pilgrim. We took down San Onofre. We took down freaking so many, some of the most dangerous reactors. These guys were panicked. They were freaking out. Where did it? This guy's kicking our ass. Let's classify him. Let's go after him. He's full of cancer. Let's just freaking bury him. Internet kettle me, I'll kettle you. Where's your crown? Obey your nuclear masters. The puppet show. So they pass it in Utah. There is no such thing. We're funding him. It's coming right out. It's fraud. Well, somebody's got to file suit. You got me, baby. How about New York on the ballot? Did you see the New York Times? Did you see the New York Post? So they went house to house. They went to Jersey. They went to Connecticut. They went house. They went to Idaho. Bring back the freaking nuclear waste. Cecil Andrews is dead. Freaking Scott Matheson, our great guy, died of leukemia. So did his wife in the same unit that I was in. So I'm so Utah that it used to come up on my social media sites. My home was East State Bone Marrow Transplant Center at LDS. I was given 2 months to live. Went into the unit on 11/11/11. I have an open heart surgery twice. Pacemaker, and yet they can do all this to me, and it's okay with everybody. And I'm the only resistance you got. Well, we got a new guy now. The governor of Illinois, of all people, vetoed the punks yesterday. These dumb, ignorant, selfish leaders, people, dumb, selfish, ignorant leaders will elect selfish, ignorant people will elect selfish, ignorant leaders. On Balco, on chemo, the great George Carlin died when? 2012, right after Fukushima. You know, so it's all coincidence, bro. So he stood up, he vetoed it yesterday to break the 1987 moratorium. They broke the moratorium in Montana. What are you going to do? Put it on Old Faithful? You know, oh, that's Wyoming. Oh, really? Huh. It's unbelievable. And the sheep are like, yeah, these SMRs are great, right? They don't exist. There's no such thing. And the only licenses ever granted, well, I just told you, Christina proved is corrupt. And they've already admitted it doesn't work. NuScale is reapplied. Why they're dumping stock? I remember a guy telling me the stock's $14. Yeah. The stock's $7. It IPO'd at 10. I'm an old investment banker. It's supported by the market, kept priming up. The government pumps money into it for a while. And stuff. The insiders are dumping the stock you've been had on Utah taxpayer money. It comes out of your bill. It's called amps out of your freaking bill. They've looted you for hundreds of millions of dollars here. Every single person who pays a power bill. And we don't fight back. It's a sham. They're Easter Bunny, Santa Claus for unicorn. It's like Sam Altman down there. He doesn't even have a license. His license got renewed. He's going to take it public. Venture capitalists dive in, sell it the new Stanford, the new Elizabeth freaking Holmes, the new Sam I Am crypto scam. Stanford's FTX stamped on the field at freaking Cal Berkeley. The nuclear energy emperors, they have no fucking clothes. Kevin Christian Anderson fucking fights back on his own. Or Kevin reached into the bag. And he slung the stone, and it struck the nuclear giant in the forehead. We got to finish the freaking job. Thank you to the governor. This is a major thing. He's the first one that he vetoed it. He's the first one that stirred up the nuclear energy crime scum scam. There are no SMRs. Unicorn, there's no such thing. And the one approval was corrupt. The NuScale thing is the most corrupt thing ever perforated. And I grew up next to this freaking mega welfare Dairy Queen and this corrupt county commission, those two brothers. I've been there my whole life, watched him commit hundreds and hundreds of felonies. You know, he's in the news again for freaking human trafficking. I mean, he's been doing this for hundreds and hundreds to the point where I've almost had to abandon my property. My grandkids aren't even allowed. He drives a spray rig around a state road. I video it, sent it to the EPA with a homemade chemical in, spraying for bugs, you know. He's poisoned the property out there to the point, including the Weber River, with his mega dairy freaking illegally, and nobody. So who's the problem? Oh well, you environmentalist group. I mean, I do all this dirty work. We have state and local Weber County officials, state officials to police this. Oh, we're going to investigate through the health department, public freaking safety. I called him on. They says, oh, he was here first. No, he wasn't. First freaking non-native buried in the cemetery here is Blanche. You know, what's that got to do with anything anyway? So, well, with these crimes go on for years and years and years, like the Nerve Tank, Status King Cuomo, and there's regulators, and they get a paycheck every Friday that's from you, the taxpayer, to police this and regulate, and they don't. Who's the criminals? Who's the criminals? These government freaking employees, these agencies who are supposed to police that and don't. You know, the media? You got no media. They bought them a long time ago. I mean, if the bailout in New York doesn't prove you, New York Times, well, Megan Rice, New York Times, she's from New York. How about Fukushima? Headlines, USA Today, when Putin did the Big Z. We're afraid of nuclear meltdowns. We're afraid of nuclear meltdowns. Big Z could happen, might happen, fucking gonna happen. Don't know the difference between the word going to, might, could, and did, and is. But we're not afraid of the three blown out meltdowns at Fukushima-chan. 8 spent fuels, including MOX, blown up all that. But the ones that happened. We could care less about that. But we're afraid of the one that could happen. See no nuclear energy, speak no nuclear energy, hear no nuclear energy. The nuclear energy emperors, they have no fucking clothes. Hans Christian Kevin Blanche Anderson on Balco. On chemo, it's your pseudo de facto theology, your pseudo de facto sociology. It's your pseudo de facto, no, it's your bio. It's the ecology, stupid. It's corruption. And they're preying on this fucking ignorance. And we have nobody. You got me, and what their answer? They kettle me, I'll kettle you. Obey your nuclear energy master. 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 Don't drop your dry cast container. These SMRs don't exist. Thank you to the governor. It's a major. He's the first one. He's the first one that stood up to these monsters of all places in Illinois. I mean, where so much of this started. Under the football field, I'm a butcher, what's a cow? I'm a baker, what's a cake? I'm a football guy. I love football. Who's Alonzo Stagg? He was the coach of the University of Chicago. You know, they showed it. What they do? Collided the atom. Fermi on Balco. Don't he look just like Bezos? You know, I'm a fisherman. What's a boat? I'm at the Oregon Road Derby today. Yay, there's no fish. Fishermen can't fish. Skiers who can't ski. Surfers who can't surf. Environmental agents who won't do their job. Freaking government, Weber County, state of Utah, fed freaking employees that get paid, police who are corrupt. In the club. I guess they think they're in the club. Status King Cuomo. They bribed him in Idaho. They bribed him in Utah. They bribed him in freaking Illinois, or excuse me, in Connecticut. They got it all through in so many. We've shut down so many. Kevin Blanche, the greatest grassroots activist accomplishment in human history. They're kicking over San Onofre, taking down, we can go right across the country. We took down so many nuclear reactors, it was unbelievable. How about Angela Merkel? Thank you. Nuclear physicists. They're not in Fukushima denial in Germany. They shut down our nuclear reactors. One word. They're not in Fukushima. They'll just say Fukushima. Oh, German physicists and German engineers, I will quote Oppenheimer. If the Germans want it, they'll have it first. They're the best nuclear physicists in the world. That's Oppenheimer's words. Oppenheimer full well knew that the Germans didn't have it and weren't interested. He said it all the time. If the Germans wanted it, they'd have it way before it, but they don't want it. He knew that. He dropped it anyway. They shut down their nuclear reactors in Germany. You go over there, they're not Fukushima denial. Same in Austria. Same in Denmark. So a lot of places, they're in Spain, in Italy, they're not Fukushima denial like we are here. Thank you to the governor. The moratorium was in 87. Byron Scott was going right there. Talked to one of his family members last night at the game. She says, I'm a Scott. I'm like, oh, still around. Moratorium in 87. Oh, Santa Susana, don't you laugh on me. I came to Utah with a load from Santa. Thank you to the governor. You know, it's a major deal. It's a major deal. Santa on the state line. Trying. Uranium 238. They don't exist. It's a fairy tale. It's the greatest scam ever perforated on the Utah ratepayers in history. That's saying a lot. This corrupt place. This is the nuclear waste corrupt place, Utah. It's disgusting. I can't believe what's going on here in my life. I've had to watch it. Watch these guys poison my property. These corrupt mega welfare actually. Well, I'm in corrupt, and they know it. They're spraying a rag right in front of them. The EPA has it on. Nobody will do anything about it. So who's the criminals? The people that keep perforating these crimes? Are the people that allow them, that are paid government officials to keep perforating these crimes. Slap on the hands, they don't do anything. The NRC approval was corrupt at New Scone. They've already admitted it doesn't work. They've reapplied for another one, yet they've looted us, and they're selling stock like crazy and keep turning themselves into mega multi-millionaires. What a sham. SMR scam. Stand tuned.